Welcome, sisters and brothers, to another edition of Conscious Conversations. And as you already know, every time we get together for Conscious Conversations, whatever we're dealing with, whatever we're talking about, whether it's our past history, our current reality, any and every conversation we have, the goal is always to try to figure out what we can glean out of that conversation that can help us right here and right now to become our best selves, to give our best selves over in service to our God and our people so that we can build power and a self-determining existence for our people. But like I said, it's all about how we can improve our lives and let the Almighty shine through us in the very unique and passionate and powerful ways uh, that the Holy Spirit wants to shine through us. And with Conscious Conversations, we may have guests that are in the studio, so to speak, but we invite everybody. If you're watching, you can be an active participant in Conscious Conversations. All you need to do, if you have questions, comments, whatever, just type them in the chat, and prayerfully, if Spirit moves us, we'll be able to get to those questions and add you into the conversation. The conversation today is focused on sharing memories of Edward Baba Fana Vincent, a brother I've known since 1990, and a brother who has had a profound impact upon Houston's conscious community, but not just here in Houston. He's had an impact all over the country and in international spots as well. And we are really honored uh, to have two folk who have known the good brother themselves. And so we just wanted to get together real informal and just share some memories of our good brother who is now in the realm of the ancestors. And so we're going to welcome to Conscious Conversations LJ Garfield. How you doing, soul sister? There she is.
Hello, can you hear me? Testing
I
one, two.
can, I can. And Akacha, how you doing, sister?
Good evening, everyone.
Okay, I think oh, there we go, there we go. Okay, she's coming in and out, but that's all right. We're gonna work it out. There she is. So first of all, how's everyone doing this evening?
Doing well. I'm
Alive,
doing well.
alive with, alive with possibilities.
Alive with possibilities. All right. I think Baba Fana would love that answer. That just sounds so right up his alley. He was just such a positive a positive force and a positive brother. But like I said, we wanted to share experiences. I know that tomorrow at the shrine at 1 p.m. Central, we'll be having a memorial service to honor our good brother. Um, but we wanted to use as many platforms as possible just to lift him up um, and just remind folk just how much of an impact that he had um, on people's lives. And you two are prime examples of that. And so, if you don't mind, Sister Garfield, would you mind just sharing how you came about meeting this brother and how y'all interacted over the years?
Yes. So Baba Fana is like a father to me. And I say is because even though his body is gone, his spirit and his influence and his connection to me is still very much alive.
Mm-hmm.
And I will always see him in the community, at the shrine, at Shape, at Emancipation, in the park. And so I always saw him around, but I didn't really officially meet him until 2015 when Seha was preparing to go to Ethiopia in 2016. And
Mm-hmm.
so at the time, Baba Shango required all the people that were traveling to meet once a month. And Baba Fana was a part of the travelers, as well as myself and about 15, 18 other people. So I got to know him in that group. And then when we traveled to Ethiopia, he and I just kind of forged a bond, and we've been father and daughter ever since. And I met some other people on the trip that I've remained connected to as well. And so uh, the best way that he has influenced me is that he made sure that I am now a history buff. It's important that we know our heritage, that we know our history, that we know where we come from, and that we
Mm-hmm.
teach that to our children because knowing your history helps define you in your present, and it helps to project you into your future. And so he instilled that in me. And the second thing he did is I had some daddy issues, to be frank, and Baba
Mm.
Fana was like my surrogate, helping me work through the issues with my father, who was also deceased. And my father passed in December, and Baba was helping me with that. And
Wow.
so he was a very strong force in my life, even though I only knew him 6 years. And
Mm-hmm.
he will always have his legacy continue through me and my children. So that's how I met him, and that's how I'm going to make sure his legacy stays alive.
Thank you
Sure.
for that. Thank you for that. What about you, good sister?
As far as meeting Baba, is interesting because I can't pick a point in time. I would run into him places, like even outside of the shrine.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was, whether it was at the Shape or I ran into him at the movie theater for the Black Panther, just I would run into him and it was always the same person, the same smile, same warm. He
Mm-hmm.
just embraced me, It's like when I had run into him, probably the last time that I recall was at the Black Panther premiere. And
Mm-hmm.
I got in line for popcorn and he just so happened to be behind me. I'm like, wait a minute, hey. And he's like, hey, I'm only 5'1", and he was tall. And so it was just like we never had like a formal introduction, but
Mm-hmm.
it was just like we connected, and I would come to conversations in African history off and on, nothing really consistent until maybe this last year before the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And like as far as everything that I learned, honestly, it's a lot. Um, it was so many lessons, so many things that I learned from him, how he carried himself, what I saw him doing in the community, to just the wisdom of just sitting at his feet and being able to ask so many questions and get his insight on current events and things going on in conversations, which I feel like, although it's a class, I understood it. I feel like it was his ministry. It
Mm.
was a very much a spiritual element to that. And so yeah, I have a lot of so many thoughts where honestly I thought like I need to get a journal so that I've been putting notes in my phone, but just so that when I think of things that matter to me that I learned from him or how he lived his life, I can write them down, which I
Yeah.
have notes from conversation, but just in retrospect.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny that you say it was his ministry because that's how I met him. You know, he was a minister, um, and just never ever seemed to be in a hurry. Was always taking his
No, never.
time to get wherever the heck he needed to be. You know, he just
Uh-huh.
walked. He had his own chill spirit about him, and it was just really beautiful. Hey y'all, we are joined with the Houston icon, dare I say, legend, brother Kofi Taharka, the national chairman of the National Black United Front. Good brother, we're just so glad that you were able to be here, man, to celebrate our good brother. And right now, we're really just sharing how we met Baba Fana and different ways he impacted our lives. If you wanted to share something. Uh oh, you got to take yourself off mute. Well, I tell you what, while you're finding that button, I'm just going to share that I can't go to a, a Subway. I can't go to Subway without thinking of him. He's the one that literally introduced me to Subway. We would be on uh, missionary trips for the shrine, and you know He's he introduced me to Subway. He introduced me to Smoothie King. I know it's all old news now, but it was just these places were blowing my mind back in the day. Um, and he was just so into jazz. There was never a time when there wasn't music around when he
Mm-hmm.
was around. Um,
Yep.
and before my oldest son was born, he was like, you know what, we're gonna find you a song to honor this young man that is about to be born. He said, there's all kinds of songs celebrating baby girls, like isn't she lovely, etc. We're gonna find you a song, brother. Um, and I'll just never forget that. But brother Kofi, you have the floor, man. How did you meet Baba Fana, and how did y'all work together? How did y'all uh, do the thing together?
Yeah. So thank you, Brother Swad. It's my honor to be on with you and all of the other guests. As the damn mute button was right in front of me the whole time. So I don't know what took me so long. I bring you greetings from the offices and members of the National Black United Front, both in Houston and across the country. And meeting Baba Fanan, it was in the context of organizational structure within a group we had called the Operation Unity Network. And that included community-based groups of INBUF, Shape Community Center, the Nation of Islam Mosque 45, Tasseti African Historical Society, Haitian American Ministries, and the Shrine of the Black Madonna Pan African Orthodox Christian Church. So I was younger, like you were, a young boy. Um, and Fadam was probably our age, I guess, around that time.
Mm-hmm.
So it was in that context that we interacted with each other. And I just remember that in reflection that it seems like how did I meet Phenomenal? I don't know how. I don't know the first day. I don't know because we're heavily involved in the African liberation movement and building institutions and coming together in unity. And brothers and sisters who are serious about that work find our way together. Now, Baba Fanan had a unique characteristic in some ways. I said, I don't think I ever heard him raise his voice that I can recall. Um, I don't think
Rarely.
I don't think I within the inbuff or personally that I ever asked him for anything that he didn't deliver about
Mm-hmm.
coming to drum, coming to speak, coming to uh, provide financial support, uh,
Mhm.
being there at various activities and what have you that we would do as an organization, providing some wisdom quietly about his own personal history. I knew he's from New York. I
Mhm.
know he
Yeah.
had spent some time out in Cali doing a few
Mhm.
things, and that was some of his background. And then also inviting myself personally, as well as the National Black United Front as an organization, to be part and parcel of a number of different events that included the Shrine of the Black Madonna, but then also expanded. And let me say this for the history books: um, that coalition started in I think in the early '90s. But then after a while, I had to step away from that responsibility as coordinator. But the foundation had been laid for the proper communication. What I want to say about that is it's cool. We talk about unity, right? We talk
Mm-hmm.
about being together. But this
Mhm.
formation was stamped, right? It was
Mm-hmm.
in writing that these are things that we're going to do. It was like a memorandum of understanding. So it wasn't no backing out when you feel like it or when things got a little testy between each other. And what Baba Fanan did after a period of time where I had to work specifically on MBuff is he helped revise it and was the coordinator. Let's talk about that, Black. See, some
Mm-hmm.
we don't know some of that particular history because we just haven't spoken it. So he helped to revise that with a communication between the groups would uh would take place. And some people ask me when I travel across the country and what have you, they say, well, y'all work with them. We don't agree with them on this, and we don't agree with them on that. I said, no, this is how we do it in H Town, and we have forged a certain level of trust. Not that we don't have
Mhm.
differences or
Lord have
any of
mercy.
that,
Yeah.
ideological, theological, just practical, tactical, and all of that. But we helped build this level of trust that Baba Fanan was very helpful in revitalizing that as a coordinator for the Operational Unity Network
And
for
I
a
have
number
to
of
say
years.
this: you wrote a book about that to provide like a manual for other cities. Because I think I shared with you, I've lived in Detroit and
Right,
Atlanta and
right,
other places, and I have never seen Black organizations work in unity the way they do in
Mm.
Houston. And that's in large part thanks to you and thanks to all the organizations that you mentioned, and thanks to Baba Fana, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So, man, you got me. I didn't got fired up, man. Yeah, I'm glad I got a chance to get that out. I didn't like plan those with notes or anything, but that's uh that's 100% stamp right there. Those big black facts.
Right, right, right. And we need them big black facts. And one thing that Baba Fana did for me was because, when you feel that you are called to serve your people, serve our people, um, we deal with some really heavy things. When we're talking about seeking to overthrow oppressive institutions, I mean, that's about as deep as it gets. But the thing that I appreciate about Baba Fana, one of the things that he shared with me was don't forget the joy. Don't
Mhm.
forget the joy of life. Don't forget the good times. Don't forget the relationships and the good feelings that you can have with each other as we seek to overthrow oppressive institutions and build um, counter institutions that are self-determining for our people. We have to take the time as we are, uh, Bishop Ada Edwards. She would always say we have to build the ship while we flying it, right? We got to learn how to fly it while we build it. I can't remember exactly, but he just for me, he reminded me that even as we're doing this work, as we're doing this heavy work, we have to find we've got to find the joy. We got to find the joy. I want to go back to LJ Garfield because you talked about how he is still alive and will forever be alive for you and your circle. Can you speak more to that? Didn't you all travel together to? You mentioned Ethiopia, but was that the only international trip y'all ventured on together?
No, we went to Ghana together most recently this year. We just came back from Ghana at the beginning of August. And so I met him on the first trip with Baba Shango going to Ethiopia. And then he has gone back to Ghana every year except 2020 because of COVID. And he takes groups of people back to Ghana to allow them to reconnect with the motherland, to allow them to explore their heritage, the culture, the food, the clothing, the music, the everything.
Hmm.
And as you know, he teaches a class at the shrine. His
Hmm.
conversations about I'm drawing a blank on the name of the class. What's the name of the class, Akachi?
Conversation African history.
Thank you. Conversations
Conversations
in
in
African
African
History.
history.
Thank you. So his
You're
conversations
welcome.
class, the field trip was actually going to Africa.
Wow.
And
Mhm.
Akachi traveled with him too. And he like we don't do a tourist trip to Africa. Like we're in the village. We're with the people. We're in people's
Mhm.
homes. We're in the institutions like their churches, their educational facilities, their elementary schools. We're staying in hostels where everybody is the owner. And one of the best things for me was everybody's black in Africa. Like and I know that that seems pretty basic, but it's an amazing thing to see because I grew up in a
Yeah.
Eurocentric environment, and then to see black images in your media, have black people own the institutions like the electric company, the phone company, and to see those operations were really profound to me because it's not necessarily something that I see every day in America.
Yeah.
And so the reason why he's going to live through me because he instilled that passion for our history in me. And we were also on a committee building an African American studies curriculum so that African American studies can be taught in our public schools. And so he was over the ancient Kemetic and all of the ancient civilizations, and his contribution was invaluable. What I learned from him, and then what I was able to help him put together for the curriculum, was just an amazing journey of the greatness of Black people, and it gives you a whole different sense of self that I didn't have prior to having exposure to that information. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
now I'm teaching it to my children. So that's how his legacy is going to live on. And he planned to open a school in Ghana. And One of the reasons why we went over there this past trip was to procure the land and start to get that process going. So I'll give you more details on that as it develops, but it is our goal to make sure that his school gets open and it will be named after him, and that will be a part of his legacy as well.
Wow, wow. Go ahead. And Akacha, you were part of that class on a regular basis, right? But did you also go on the trip to Ghana?
Not this last one, but his first class trip.
Okay.
So that was it was amazing. I did want to add, like when you brought up the music,
Mm-hmm.
I listened to Coltrane and Miles Davis' entire catalog because of Baba. Like
Yep.
I already love music, but it was just like that conversation that we had about music. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, I gotta listen to it. I could just feel it pouring from his spirit as he was talking about the jazz. And that, as far as like when I officially met him, this is one of the times where I would say I kind of was really officially meeting him, which was before Black Panther and all that, maybe 3, 4 years ago. Was he handed me a cowbell at one of the shape full moon drum circles, and it
Mm-hmm.
was like making sure that I was included. I didn't really know anyone. I came into the community on my own as just an African seeking community. And he was definitely one of those people who cemented a foundation of like, this is your home and you're welcome and you are part of us. And so when the opportunity came, because I was like, are we going to Ghana? Like, hey, are we, like, I had been trying to go to Ghana. So once we were able to go, it just took the relationship to another level. And I
Yes,
don't know, it's a real,
yes.
it's just like, it's been like amazing things that have happened where I feel Baba's spirit, and I know, like, I feel like yesterday I had a day with him. I had
Mm-hmm.
watched a interview with Ossie Davis, Melvin Van Peebles, and Gordon Parks, and I'm like, this is Baba's era, and that was inspired actually by a conversation that I had with someone else, but still Baba was in the framework of that conversation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so then I turn around that evening and I watch Summer of Soul because I didn't get a chance to see it yet. And he's in there. So anyone,
Yep.
please check
I,
that out.
I
Summer of
saw
Soul
him.
is must see.
Mm-hmm.
He's at the 12-minute 52-second mark. It's very quick, but you will see him. And it was
12:52.
like, yes, 12:52. And it was like in that, I was like just having that moment of seeing where he grew up. He went to the whole festival, just seeing that era that he grew up in, those icons of those amazing three Black men that I mentioned, um, that just shaped him. He would share his life and his story, tell us, things that happened when he was 10 years old or when he was 20 years old, or all these different things in conversations. And I just, for me, what I take from him are a million life lessons. But one of them for sure is that he lived fully. He never sold out, stood tall, and he was 10 toes down for us.
Yeah.
As far as I know, basically his whole adult life.
Yeah.
And I will continue living that, which will
And
include his legacy.
and Brother Kofi said something that's so true. I've never seen Baba raise his voice ever. Like that's
Barely.
amazing to me because so many people yell and fuss and
Uh-huh.
fight. He was always
Yeah.
calm and always
He
in his
had
own
passion though.
groove. And yes, no, he didn't lack passion, but I, I just thought that was amazing because
Hmm.
I don't see that very often. And for him to
Yeah.
always exhibit that, let me know that he was on a level that I aspire to.
Hmm.
And another
Oh
thing, I want
yeah.
to come back to Brother Kofi, but something that just hit me. You know how when brothers are asked to take pictures, we always mean mugging, right?
No.
Not
Now,
him.
Baba,
Not him. Not him.
big smile. He
Always.
have a big cheese.
Always.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But Brother Kofi, yeah,
I
jump on in
think
here,
that was
man.
like helpful. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, because I got a
Oh,
good
I
story
was
to
just gonna
tell
say
y'all.
like that's something that always stuck with me too. His cool, calm, smooth. I call Baba smooth. The way that he just handled everything. We had an incident in Belgium where one of the engines would not fire. Okay, you're about to travel across the Atlantic and they're telling you the engine's not gonna fire. And I
Hmm.
remember, I'm pretty calm, but that was like a very spiritual moment for me because it's like, what can you do? You're gonna get off the plane, and I turn around, look at Baba, just calm, and I trusted his spirit as well as the other elders that if they felt led that we needed to get off the plane that we would, but he always just kept that.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Yeah. While I was listening to the sisters, I thought about a story or an event that took place with Baba Fana, and it exemplified how he tended to operate. Most of us know Sister Kua Hope from Amanala Productions
Hmm.
and all of the great work that she has done in Houston over the years. And she and Baba Fana were very tight. I think he would host a radio show and different things. But one time, one of her daughters, who was in school at that performing arts school, was scheduled to graduate, but she was having a big problem there, like with the administration. So myself, Baba Fana, and Sister Akua, we went to the HISD headquarters, and well, I went and demanded a meeting with the superintendent about this particular issue. Baba Fana, Reverend Benson, came to the meeting with the collar on, right? I got on the dashiki where he's got the collar on, and we ultimately had this meeting with the superintendent. I think I forget what her name was at that time, sitting in a boardroom talking about the future of this young African child. And suffice it to say, the issue was cleared up, and she graduated and got out of there. But I always thought the dynamic that was presented to them, him with his cool, calm demeanor, as Reverend Benson, me with Buff, National, Kofi Taharka, and we're, it was like, I don't want to say, it was different sides of the same coin,
Yeah.
advocating for one of our children.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And if you don't mind, brother Kofi, can you speak to why it's important for um, for us to celebrate, honor, um, not only Baba Fanam, but other sisters and brothers that are doing the work. Celebrating them while we are alive in the land of the living. And I will say this about Black folk in Houston. I think we did a good job of honoring our good brother while he was here. We didn't wait until his passing to, you know, lift up all this praise. I mean, we're doing it now, but I think we did a pretty good job of recognizing his impact while he was alive.
Ashe.
yes, yeah, I think we hear that a lot just in our own personal lives, community lives, and broader lives. I think some of it is natural when someone makes a transition for
Yeah.
everybody to stop, pause, and to reflect in a way maybe that we wouldn't do while they're around. I
Yeah.
think very small practical things while someone is on the physical plane is very important. Letting them know that they are appreciated. It might be a phone call. It might be a word of encouragement. It might be acknowledging, hey, Sister Akachi, you did a really good job with that particular event, activity, assignment, whatever it is that you had, and we appreciate you. Um, so I think we have to keep that foremost in mind because we don't want when someone makes their transition to the spiritual realm to have left anything on the table that
Yeah.
we might have wanted to say or make sure that that person understood about us. So maybe it's we have community trip. I've been recipient of a lot of community support and love over the years, and that has been helpful. But maybe it's not some big tributes. Maybe it's the everyday interactions that we have with each other. And sometimes we'll think something, but we won't say it. Or
Yeah.
we'll think about someone and we won't pick
Mhm.
up the phone and call them and say, hey, whatever the kind word, or listening to someone. You talked about a heavy load and moving through it with a smile or moving through it in joy. That's real, man, because you know this movement is serious and it will break people. It has broken people
Mm.
We have people in our community that we could walk past and not know their history and see them at a certain station in life and not understand that it was because of their 10 toes down commitment to our people that some issues they may be having, whether they be mentally or with addictions or economically, has something to do with how they went all in.
Yeah.
So, uh, Baba Fana helped us in a lot of ways in being positive and being smooth. I always felt like he appreciated me. I hope he felt the same
Mhm.
way.
Yeah.
I hope he
Definitely.
felt the same way.
Yeah. Oh, I know he did. I know he did. Um, any last thoughts? I do know that if anyone's watching, there's going to be a memorial service tomorrow, Saturday, September the 18th at 1 p.m. Um, it'll be at the shrine, but if you can't make it, you can log on to shrinesoftheblackmadonna.org, where the service will be streaming live. And again, that's 1 p.m. tomorrow, Saturday, September 18th. Shrines with an S, shrines of the blackmadonna.org. If you can't make it out to the service, you can actually watch it wherever you may be. It will be streaming live. But sisters, in any last thoughts before we close the show out?
Yes, I have one. Baba Fana was such a humble man, and he really believed in the liberation of our people. It wasn't something that he just
Mhm.
talked about. He lived it, and he inspired
Mhm.
it in others, and he inspired it in me. And so, Brother Walker and Brother Kofi, if there's ever anything that you need from me, I'd be willing to help on Baba's behalf and my own. So I just wanted to let you know you can call on me because I'm gonna be 10 toes down, helping Baba push his legacy forward.
Go ahead.
O'Shea.
Go ahead.
Um,
And Akachi, we already connected, so I know you'll
yes,
call when you need something.
always. Um, you know, I knew Baba was a star in my life. And you have stars. I see people as stars in your life. And I knew that he was super bright. Um, I didn't realize how much, even though I kind of knew, until, that he's not here. But,
You gotta breathe, Kachi. Breathe, baby.
yeah, sorry.
It's
I was
okay.
not planning on crying.
It's okay. Take your time.
Yeah.
I called Baba, like right after. I love astronomy. And I was like, Baba is like a star that died. And while they do, when they die, they can die different ways. I was like, Baba's a supernova because when a supernova before it dies, it expands
Mm-hmm.
and it bursts, and all of its energy goes out into the galaxy, and we absorb that energy. And that's what Baba means to me. And I know he had like so many beautiful relationships with so many other people, and that's what I admire about him is how he could move in between so many communities, which is how I feel like I am. I'm not necessarily planted in any one place, but I feel like I'm part of our. I'm just wherever our people are, and want to support. And the fact that he could offer that one-to-one relationship and just love on so many levels with different people, whether he met them 10 minutes. I saw him bond with children, and they bonded with him. I mean, on a huge level, and I'm talking about a matter of minutes. Whether it's right here in Houston or when we were in Ghana, I saw him bond with adults. Some of them old enough to be almost his siblings, to those who were young enough to be his children or young adult children or whatever, no matter their age, their station, their education, all of that, wherever they were. And I think that's something I truly admire and want to embody because I think we need that with each other. People ready to all this cancel culture. Baba ain't cancel nobody. You know, Baba was about bringing us to our higher self if he could help and assist in that. And so it's so many things I could say,
Yes.
but um, that's all I have to say. Thank you for
I,
having me.
oh no, thank you, and I'll just add this. So at the shrine, we have our worship service, and when it's over, we end with drumming. So the drumming is going on, the service is over, um, and Baba Fana is over there, drumming, drumming. Most times when grown folk are doing something, singing, speaking, whatever, um, they're into their thing, and you know, any kind of interruption is looked upon as an interruption. But with him, anyone who came over, especially children, he's drumming and he's serious about his drumming. But any child that came over, he welcomed them, and he's sitting there and he's drumming and he's teaching. It was just such a to me, uh, symbol of just how he lived his life. And I just want to end with this. Brother Kofi, you said some powerful things. You talked about the Operation Unity in the city. And if you don't mind, can you please give the name of your book? Because if there's anyone that's watching who's not here in Houston, they could learn lessons for their city from reading that blueprint that you put down on paper.
Yes, Operational Unity Network, Black Unity Guide. Black Unity Guide. It's a small little book. Operational Unity Network, Black Unity Guide. And I wanted to say this on Saturday, October the 16th, 2021, will be the 24th annual Sankofa Caravan to the ancestors from Houston to Galveston. You can look it up on Eventbrite. Baba Fana was a drummer for a number of decades. Those looking for in other and increased opportunities. We'll have a seat open for 'em. Check us out at the Sankofa Caravan to the Ancestors down in Galveston that next month. That'll be another opportunity to lift up your spirit.
Yes. Hey, all of you, thank you. Uh, Blessings, much love. Um, and for those of you who are watching, those of you who have participated with comments, we thank you for being a part of this conversation. We're going to continue to lift up our good brother, Baba Fana. Um, Reminder one more time, tomorrow, Saturday at 1 p.m. at the Shrine, we'll be holding a memorial service to celebrate his life. And if you want to check it out online, you can't be there. Shrines of the blackmadonna.org, and you can check it out there. But again, all of you, thank you for your work, because you too, I would dare say, are supernovas, um, with energy to share and spread with others. And so keep on doing the great work you all are doing, Brother Kofi, LJ Garfield, Sister Akachi. Bless all of you. Bless all of you. Um, that's it for today's show. Those of you who joined us again, thank you. We hope to see you again next week. But until then, do the things necessary to become your best self and give your best over in service to our God and to our people. And as always, the final word is Amanla, which means power. All right, y'all. Be good.
Amanla.
Amanla. Thank you for having
Amanla.
me.
Yes,
Thank
yes,
you.
yes. All right, y'all. Take care.
You too.
You too.